This is Regina Wallace-Jones, the CEO of ActBlue, the political action committee and fundraising platform for the Democrat Party. In 2023, House Republicans began an investigation into ActBlue regarding fraudulent or illegal foreign donations that ActBlue may have received. Here's Congressman Brian Stile.
I sent this letter to ActBlue asking basic questions about its fraud prevention practices. In response, ActBlue CEO Regina Wallace-Jones wrote to me in this letter claiming that ActBlue had a robust approach to rooting out potential foreign contributions.
In that letter to Chairman Stile, Ms. Wallace-Jones explained to congressional investigators how the platform vetted donations to prevent illegal foreign money. Our approach is multi-layered, with checks and confirmations occurring throughout the donation process to verify donors and donor information. These measures, which include compliance measures, technology tools, and manual reviews, help to ensure the identity of donors, root out potential foreign contributions, and protect donors from financial fraud. But a New York Times investigation revealed that in early 2025, Covington and Burling, a law firm working for ActBlue, wrote in one of two memos that some of the steps Ms. Wallace-Jones had described were not always followed.
According to the New York Times, ActBlue's outside legal counsel reviewed Ms. Wallace-Jones' response and found that it posed a substantial risk for ActBlue. Specifically, the concern was that Ms. Wallace-Jones' letters may have been false or misleading.
One memo stated, "It can be alleged that ActBlue accepted and/or facilitated the acceptance of foreign national contributions into American elections. In addition, because ActBlue staff was aware that its system was not as robust as necessary, it could be alleged that these violations were knowing and willful, a standard that both increases the penalties the FEC might seek and gives the Justice Department jurisdiction for a potential criminal investigation." So the Committee on House Administration, the Committee on the Judiciary, and the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform released a report that found that ActBlue, in its own words, decided to take a more lenient approach to fraud prevention, weakening its fraud prevention policies at least twice during the 2024 election cycle. Similarly, internal trainings directed ActBlue's fraud prevention team to look for reasons to accept contributions rather than examine them closely for indicators of fraud as required by federal regulation.
Now, the only problem is ActBlue's outside counsel, as the chairman said, sent a memo to Ms. Wallace-Jones where they said things were a little different than what she described to Congress.
A little different is the understatement of the century.
We had one ActBlue employee who, in an email, said, "Changes we have made over the last year have already meant we're accepting more fraud." So there was already some fraud. They changed their standards so they were accepting more fraud.
So ActBlue's own lawyers essentially warned her that she was tap dancing on the edge of a federal indictment. Listen to what the legal memo said.
Quote, "There's a substantial risk some of the funds were impermissible contributions from foreign nationals. And ActBlue staff was aware that its system was not as robust as necessary, making these contributions appear," listen here, "knowing and willful." There's intent right there. Knowing and willful, not entirely accurate response to Congress in an effort to conceal. You know what they call that? They call that lying.
And what exactly are they trying to conceal? A mountain of data showing that their platform was being actively exploited. We're talking about massive red flags for smurfing, a process where bad actors use automated systems and foreign IPs to pump illegal money through a platform by breaking it into thousands of tiny unverified donations. And Jim Jordan brought the receipts.
First, there's just the general suspicious activity. Foreign IP addresses with 237 contributions in one day. 1,700 transactions in 7 days where the donor's country did not match the country of the donor's IP address. That seems fishy.
And considering that the Democrats were obsessed with foreign interference in our elections, you'd think that they might actually demand some answers. Instead, because it's a Democrat organization, they dismissed the entire oversight effort as political theater and retribution from Trump.
The American people understand that congressional Republicans and this administration willingly tolerate corruption when it benefits them.
This hearing is really part of a political vengeance and vendetta campaign.
Because this is not a serious effort to improve campaign finance compliance. It is a partisan exercise designed to protect Donald Trump and attack Democrats and political opponents.
It's a very convenient talking point to brush off the entire investigation as some right-wing conspiracy. But there's just one massive glaring problem with that narrative. The people who blew the whistle on ActBlue CEO weren't Republicans.
Mr. Garcia in his opening statement said we're here because Republicans are playing politics. Let's be clear. We're here because ActBlue's legal counsel said Ms. Wallace-Jones lied to Congress, willfully and knowingly misled the Congress of the United States. That's why we're here. Oh, by the way, who was the legal counsel, Covington Burling? Who was her counsel? Dana Remus, not some Republican. She was former White House counsel for Joe Biden.
Fact check true. It wasn't a conservative watchdog or a Republican opposition research team that caught ActBlue red-handed. It was Joe Biden's own former top White House attorney. When your own high-priced Deep Blue legal team tells you that you're legally misleading Congress, the whole partisan witch hunt defense completely falls apart. So instead of addressing any of the allegations against ActBlue, the Democrats leaned in on their go-to strategy. But what about the Republicans?
According to public reporting, a Chinese businessman illegally contributed $5,000 to the Trump campaign in 2024. What do House Republicans have to say about this corruption? Not a word. Deafening silence.
So Congressman Joe Morelli introduces one isolated incident of a potential foreign donation to visually neutralize the systemic flood of unverified money moving through the Democrats' own engine. But let's try and take a closer look at this accusation. According to the Associated Press, Jack Zhang is a jet-setting Chinese businessman whose Qingdao Scaffolding Company boasts of being one of the biggest manufacturers and suppliers in China of scaffolding. In October 2025, he used WinRed to donate $5,000 to Trump. Zhang lives in China's Shandong province, according to his LinkedIn account, and is described in French business filings as a Chinese national. But his contribution to Trump lists a La Quinta Inn in Hawaiian Gardens, California as his address records show. The donation was made around the time that Zhang posted a photo on social media of his family visiting Disneyland, which is near the hotel. Now, is it possible that this is the exact Jack Zhang who made the donation? Maybe. Is it also possible that in a country of 1.4 billion people, that there might be more than one guy who goes by the name of Jack Zhang who just happened to take his kids to see Mickey Mouse? Yeah. And I should note that the AP admits that they couldn't reach him to verify their claims. And if this $5,000 donation is the smoking gun of a massive illegal foreign-funded dark money syndicate running out of a 2-star hotel in California, then why haven't the Democrats investigated it? They've had 12 months to file complaints, maybe issue subpoenas, or present a single shred of new evidence beyond what an AP reporter scraped off of a LinkedIn profile.
Now, CNN reported that there was one 82-year-old woman living in a modest Baltimore apartment who unknowingly gave more than $350,000 to Republican causes through recurring donations.
CNN reported that one 82-year-old woman wearing pajamas with holes in them when they interviewed her because she didn't want to spend money on new pajamas was swindled of more than $350,000 of her life savings that she had no idea she was giving to Republicans through WinRed.
Pajamas with holes in them! You have to hand it to Raskin. He knows exactly how to paint a tragic picture to manipulate an audience. Jamie Raskin is getting that info from an October 2024 CNN article where they briefly mention an old woman from Baltimore who claims she didn't realize she had given more than $350,000 to Republicans.
This is what real fraud looks like. Why don't we investigate it?
Then investigate it! He's the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee and represents the state of Maryland, where Baltimore is located. And let's not pretend that this type of thing is limited to Republicans.
Matt and Dave Weisbart's mother, in cognitive decline, donated more than $200,000 to Democratic campaigns through ActBlue.
It's theft. It's elder abuse. There's no doubt about it.
By talking publicly, they hope one thing might work to get ActBlue to return some of their mother's life savings: shame.
The right thing to do, the moral thing to do, is to return that money to her. You don't have to. It's not illegal what they did, but it's morally wrong.
Another donor, an 80-year-old Californian who later died of lung cancer, contributed more than $180,000 and just had $250 left in her bank account when she passed away.
But notice the massive logical leap that Robert Garcia makes here. He assumes that just because an 80-year-old woman donated $180,000 to Republicans and passed away with only $250 left in her account, that she must have been swindled. Ever consider that maybe she knew exactly what she was doing? Where's the proof otherwise?
Public reporting shows that WinRed, quote, victimized hundreds of elderly Americans and misled those battling dementia.
Okay, let's just think about this for a second. Think about the sheer logistics of that accusation for 5 seconds. How exactly does an automated online payment processor know the medical history of the person typing in their credit card number? Is there a little required drop-down menu at checkout that asks if you have dementia?
And an examination of Trump campaign accounts shows that numerous donors listed their address as 999 Anonymous Drive when contributing to the president. That is clear evidence of fraud. Those donors could be foreign nationals. These donors possibly committed crimes.
Wow, clear evidence of fraud, but also possibly committed crimes. That sounds absolutely terrifying until you actually read the article and realize what the AP conveniently decided to leave out. Other potentially troubling donations identified by the AP include 4 from unnamed donors that listed an address of 999 Anonymous Drive. Notice what's missing. While they tell you that there are exactly 4 unnamed donors, they don't bother to list the actual dollar amount of those donations. In other words, a data journalist from the AP dug all through the federal elections database to find 4 specific donations, but then intentionally left out a key detail: the amount of money that was donated. I mean, they mentioned the dollar amount from other donors in the piece, like Alex A., who donated nearly $5,000 spread across more than 40 separate transactions in 2024. They gave you donation numbers for Alex A., so they clearly had access to the dollar amounts, but when it comes to 999 Anonymous Drive, they suddenly suffer from a secure case of selective data amnesia. Furthermore, are all the 999 Anonymous Drive donations from the same city or state? Are there 4 different names connected to them? Maybe they're 4 random $1 credit card test pings generated by a script. Who knows? Look, I'm not a data analyst and don't know how to use SQL to scrape hundreds of millions of lines of data, but I will get to the bottom of this 999 Anonymous Drive mystery, and when I do, I will post it on my X account, so make sure you follow me at Don't Walk Run. You'll be glad you did.
I believe Congress should be making deliberate efforts to prevent foreign donors from attempting to influence our democracy, and any investigation that would be serious use of our time and our resources here in this committee would include an investigation not just of ActBlue, but of WinRed as well.
And if this was a legitimate exercise in politics, we would have WinRed and ActBlue here together.
The Democrats have the CEO of ActBlue right there, directly in front of them at the witness table under oath, and they aren't asking her a single question. That was up to the Republicans.
Ms. Wallace-Jones, before you sent this letter, did you believe, was it brought to your attention that this letter that you sent me was false and misleading?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Your letter also claimed that ActBlue would contact a donor to request passport information if the contribution appeared to be from a foreign address. And you told this committee that the contribution would be refunded if ActBlue was unable to make contact with the donor. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Your board chairman said ActBlue accepted up to 38 million contributions in 2024 that had the signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How many foreign contributions did ActBlue accept?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why did your entire legal team quit? Your in-house legal team?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Your company's memo states, and I quote, "If an otherwise legitimate donor uses a fake name, we would want to accept their donation," end quote. Can you confirm whether this is the advice that you give to your employees?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
So Ms. Wallace-Jones has three ways to go here. A, tell the truth, which in this case would probably destroy ActBlue. B, lie and eventually go to jail, so you can understand why C, plead the Fifth over and over again, was probably her best option. But it seems that her lawyers clearly terrified her into never breaking character under any circumstances. And as you're about to see, in some cases, pleading the Fifth is just a little bit of overkill.
I do have a series of questions for you, but I want to make sure I'm respectful. Is it Ms. Jones or Ms. Wallace-Jones?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Okay, wow. Okay, didn't expect that one.
Think about how utterly surreal this is. The CEO of the primary fundraising apparatus for the entire Democrat Party is sitting there before a congressional hearing, and she is so legally compromised, so terrified of slipping up, that she won't even confirm her own identity for the congressional record. F***ing clown world, am I right?
Has the FEC ever completed an audit of ActBlue during the 2020 election cycle?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Okay, I just want to bring up, Mr. Chairman, that was a simple yes or no. There's no allegation in that. It was just whether an audit of ActBlue took place in the 2020 election cycle.
On the advice of counsel.
Okay, that's it for now, I guess. Head on over to my super cool merch store at don'twalkrun.shop. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure you subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time, if there is a next time.